My beloved child, before you do anything else, pause for a moment and listen carefully. Do not skip this message. Stay with me until the very end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason you were guided to this moment. There is a reason these words found you today. Deep inside your heart, there has been a question that refuses to disappear. You have tried to understand the silence. You have tried to make sense of the distance. You have wondered why someone who seemed so connected to you suddenly became difficult to read. Yet despite everything, a small voice inside you keeps saying that the story is not over. That voice exists for a reason. What if I told you that the silence you have been worried about is not what it appears to be? What if the truth is completely different from the story fear has been whispering into your mind? Stay till the end. Don't skip. Because what you are about to hear could change the way you see this entire situation. The person you have been thinking about has not forgotten the moments you shared. In fact, those memories visit them more often than they would ever admit. Your name appears in their thoughts unexpectedly. A song, a place, a simple moment during the day can suddenly remind them of you. They try to move on with their routine, but something keeps bringing them back to the connection they thought they could ignore. Here is where things become truly surprising. Most people believe silence means a lack of feelings. Most people assume that when someone becomes quiet, they simply do not care enough anymore. But sometimes silence is born from feelings that have become too powerful to explain. Sometimes people become quiet because their heart is speaking louder than their words. They start realizing that the connection means more than they originally thought, and that realization changes everything. Instead of feeling confident, they feel uncertain. Instead of speaking openly, they hesitate. Instead of moving forward, they pause and think. Not because they want to lose the connection, but because they suddenly understand how important it has become. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There is a hidden truth behind this silence, and it is slowly coming to the surface. The person connected to this message has been going through a season of deep reflection. They have been questioning things. They have been replaying conversations. They have been looking back at moments that once seemed ordinary but now carry a different meaning. They have started seeing details they overlooked before. They have started recognizing feelings they once tried to dismiss. And the more they reflect, the more impossible it becomes to ignore what is in their heart. The fascinating part is that they never expected this. They believed they understood their emotions. They thought they had everything under control. Yet life has a way of revealing truths when we least expect them. Day after day, they found themselves wondering about you. Little reminders appeared everywhere. Thoughts they tried to push away kept returning. Questions they avoided kept demanding answers. Slowly, a realization began growing inside them, and that realization has been changing everything behind the scenes. Imagine standing at the edge of a major decision. Imagine knowing that one choice could change the direction of your future. That is where they have been emotionally. A part of them wants to speak. A part of them wants clarity. A part of them wants to express what has been hidden. But another part keeps asking, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I change everything? What if I risk something that means so much to me? These questions created hesitation. That hesitation created silence. And that silence created confusion. Yet confusion is not the end of this story. Stay with me. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. The silence has not been empty. While nothing seemed to be happening on the surface, many things have been happening underneath. Feelings have been growing stronger. Understanding has been becoming clearer. What once seemed uncertain is slowly becoming undeniable. The truth is moving closer every day, even if you cannot see every step of the journey. Sometimes the biggest changes happen quietly before they become visible to everyone else. There is a powerful reason you are hearing this now. The season of wondering is not meant to last forever. The questions that have lived inside your heart are moving toward answers. The uncertainty that has surrounded this situation is beginning to lose its power. And the person connected to this message is reaching a point where pretending no longer feels possible. They are beginning to understand that some connections cannot simply be forgotten. Some people leave an impact that remains long after the conversation ends. Some feelings become too significant to ignore. So listen closely. Keep your heart open. Stay till the end of this journey. Because the real reason behind the silence is not what you feared. It is not the ending you imagined. It is not the loss you worried about. The real reason is that emotions became deeper than expected, and the weight of those emotions created a pause. But pauses are not endings. Sometimes a pause is simply the moment before a new chapter begins. And for someone listening right now, that new chapter may be closer than it appears. A remarkable truth is beginning to reveal itself, and if you have stayed with this message until now, then you are exactly where you are meant to be. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The silence we spoke about is only one piece of a much bigger story. What is happening behind that silence is something few people ever realize until it is almost too late. While you have been searching for answers, another journey has been unfolding quietly in the background. A journey of realization. A journey of awakening. A journey that has been changing someone's heart in ways they never expected. There was a time when this person believed they could simply move forward without looking back. They thought they could place their feelings on a shelf and continue with life as usual. They convinced themselves that distance would make everything easier. Yet every attempt to move forward seemed to lead them back to the same place. Back to the same memories. Back to the same emotions. Back to you. This is the part nobody sees. This is the hidden chapter that remains invisible while silence sits on the surface. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next surprised even them. Little moments began carrying unexpected meaning. A familiar song suddenly felt different. A random memory appeared out of nowhere. A thought about you arrived during a busy day and refused to leave. At first they ignored it. Then they questioned it. Then they realized it was happening too often to be a coincidence. The connection they had tried to place behind them was becoming impossible to overlook. What makes this story extraordinary is that the silence was never created because feelings disappeared. The silence happened because feelings became clearer. Sometimes clarity arrives slowly. Sometimes it arrives one small realization at a time. But once clarity reaches the heart, everything changes. The person connected to this message has reached a point where they can no longer pretend that what they feel is ordinary. They can no longer convince themselves that this connection means nothing. Deep inside, they know the truth now. And that truth has been growing stronger every day. Imagine carrying a thought everywhere you go. Imagine trying to focus on other things while one person continues appearing in your mind. Imagine telling yourself that you have moved on, only to discover that your heart has not followed the same path. That is the experience they have been living. Every day has brought another reminder. Every day has brought another realization. Every day has quietly moved them closer to understanding something important. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the next revelation changes everything. The reason they became silent was not because they lacked feelings. The reason they became silent was because they suddenly understood the value of what they might lose. And that realization caught them completely off guard. People often expect love to bring confidence, but sometimes genuine feelings bring caution. Sometimes they make people think more carefully. Sometimes they make people step back and examine every possibility before taking a step forward. For a long time they wondered if speaking openly would change everything. They wondered if expressing their feelings would create uncertainty. They wondered if revealing their heart would make them vulnerable. These questions became walls. These walls created hesitation. And hesitation became silence. Yet walls cannot stand forever when truth keeps growing stronger behind them. Something has shifted recently. They may not have spoken it aloud yet, but something inside them has changed. The confusion that once controlled them is slowly disappearing. The uncertainty that once held them back is losing its strength. What remains is a growing awareness that some opportunities should not be ignored. Some connections deserve attention. Some feelings deserve honesty. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there is another detail you need to know. While they have been quiet, they have also been observing. They have been noticing things they once overlooked. They have been reflecting on moments that suddenly seem far more meaningful than before. And with every passing day, their understanding becomes deeper. Their appreciation becomes stronger. Their awareness becomes clearer. This is why the silence has felt different. Deep down, you sense that there was more to the story. You sense that something remained unfinished. You sense that the connection was still alive beneath the surface. Sometimes the heart recognizes movement long before the eyes can see it. Sometimes intuition notices changes before words ever arrive. And that is exactly what has been happening here. The most surprising part is still ahead. The person connected to this message is approaching a turning point. A moment where avoiding the truth becomes harder than accepting it. A moment where silence becomes heavier than expression. A moment where the heart begins asking for honesty. And when that moment arrives, everything can change faster than expected. Stay with me. Do not skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the story is moving toward a revelation that neither of you expected at the beginning. The silence that once felt confusing is slowly transforming into understanding. The distance that once felt uncertain is slowly revealing its purpose. And the emotions that remained hidden are becoming impossible to ignore. This is not the ending of the story. This is the moment before the next chapter begins. The chapter where truths become clearer. The chapter where hidden feelings become harder to hide. The chapter where answers finally begin finding their way into the light. And as that chapter approaches, one thing becomes impossible to deny: the connection never disappeared. It was growing quietly, patiently, and powerfully behind the silence all along. An unexpected turning point is closer than anyone realizes, and if you have reached this moment, then listen carefully. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What you are about to hear is the part of the story that changes everything. Until now, we have talked about silence, hesitation, and hidden feelings. But there is another layer beneath all of that, a layer so surprising that it has the power to completely transform the way you understand this connection. The person connected to this message has been carrying something in their heart that they never planned to carry for this long. At first, they believed it was only a passing thought. Then they believed it was only a temporary feeling. Then they believed it would fade with time. Yet none of those things happened. Instead, the feeling remained. It stayed through busy days. It stayed through distractions. It stayed through moments when they tried to focus on everything except you. And the more time passed, the more impossible it became to ignore. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there is a realization that changed their entire perspective. One day, without warning, they began comparing every new experience to the connection they shared with you. Every conversation felt different. Every interaction felt incomplete. Every attempt to replace what they felt only reminded them of what was missing. That was the moment they started understanding that what they felt was not ordinary. It was not temporary. It was not something that could simply be forgotten. For a long time they searched for reasons to dismiss their emotions. They looked for logical explanations. They looked for excuses. They looked for ways to convince themselves that the connection was not as meaningful as it felt. But every answer they created eventually led back to the same truth. Some people enter your life and leave a mark that cannot be erased. Some connections become part of your story in a way that changes everything. And once that realization arrives, pretending becomes nearly impossible. The most fascinating part is that this realization did not happen all at once. It arrived through small moments. A memory appearing unexpectedly. A thought returning late at night. A feeling that refused to disappear. Piece by piece, the truth revealed itself. And now that truth stands in front of them more clearly than ever before. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because here comes the revelation they never expected. The silence was not protecting them from their feelings. The silence was protecting them from the intensity of those feelings. Deep down, they knew that once they fully accepted what was in their heart, nothing would ever feel the same again. Accepting those emotions would mean accepting how important you had become. Accepting those emotions would mean acknowledging how deeply this connection had affected them. Think about that for a moment. Imagine realizing that someone occupies a place in your heart that no one else has been able to reach. Imagine understanding that despite all the time that has passed, your feelings remain strong. Imagine recognizing that every attempt to move on only made your emotions clearer. That realization is powerful. That realization changes people. And that realization is exactly what has been happening. There have been moments when they almost reached out. Moments when they almost said what was on their mind. Moments when they almost broke the silence completely. But then uncertainty appeared. Questions appeared. Doubts appeared. They wondered if the timing was right. They wondered if the words would be understood. They wondered if opening their heart would change everything. And so they waited. Yet something has changed recently. The waiting no longer feels comfortable. The silence no longer feels easy. The distance no longer feels natural. What once seemed like a solution now feels like a barrier. And barriers become difficult to maintain when the truth keeps growing stronger behind them. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the next part of this journey is unlike anything that came before. The person connected to this message is beginning to understand that opportunities do not last forever. Moments do not wait forever. Some things must eventually be faced. Some truths must eventually be spoken. Some feelings must eventually be acknowledged. And that awareness is creating movement. Quiet movement. Invisible movement. But powerful movement nonetheless. While nothing may appear different on the outside, everything is changing on the inside. Thoughts are becoming clearer. Intentions are becoming stronger. Emotions are becoming impossible to ignore. The story is progressing even when it seems still. The chapter is turning even when the page appears unchanged. What makes this so remarkable is that you may have sensed it already. Perhaps there were moments when your intuition whispered that something was happening beneath the surface. Perhaps there were moments when you felt that the silence carried meaning rather than emptiness. Perhaps there were moments when you simply knew that the story was not finished. Those feelings were not random. They were signs that the connection was still alive. Stay with me. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the greatest surprise is not that they have feelings. The greatest surprise is how much those feelings have grown while nobody was looking. What began as uncertainty has become understanding. What began as confusion has become clarity. What began as silence is moving toward a truth that can no longer remain hidden forever. The person connected to this message is standing closer than ever to a moment of honesty. A moment of acceptance. A moment where they stop running from what they feel and start embracing it. And when that moment arrives, the silence that once seemed mysterious will finally make sense. This journey is not ending. In many ways, it is only beginning. The hidden emotions are becoming visible. The unanswered questions are moving toward answers. And the truth behind the silence is preparing to reveal itself completely. The next chapter holds a revelation that changes everything, and it is far closer than anyone expects.